Some dads teach you to fight. Others teach you to survive. But what happens when the lessons they pass down hurt more than they help? This is the episode where Finn proves himself, and where Jake chooses to break the cycle. The episode starts off like classic Adventure Time, with Finn, Jake, and BMO playing around in the boat of the treehouse. But that's when they're interrupted by something supernatural.
Sparkles in the house? Let's squish him!
They follow the spirit sparkles, leading them through the weeping willow leaves until they stumble upon a secret room in the fort, containing a holo message player and a cartridge.
Hello, boys.
Dad!
Finn and Jake are equally as excited to see Joshua, signifying the bond they've always had. And that bond is exactly what is put to the test in this episode. Joshua has made a surprise for his two boys.
I made you boys something. It's a dungeon, a proper dungeon, full of evil monsters, traps, and magic. The whole kazoo!
But it's not really just a regular dungeon like Joshua is making it seem. It's a test.
Jake, really, this dungeon is for Finn. I know I won't be around forever, and I want to make something that'll force Finn to toughen up.
For Joshua, it's simple. Jake grew up fast, stretchy powers, monster slaying, already a natural-born fighter. But Finn? He's just human, slow to grow, still soft. Though Joshua never saw it like that. For him, slow and soft were signs of weakness. Toughness meant survival in his world. He would turn his kid into a fighter, no matter the cost. It's kinda twisted, but yeah, it's his way of showing love. He built a dungeon to let Finn and Jake do what they love to do the most: fight monsters and go on adventures. All he wants is the best for his boys. To be ready for the real world, to live long and prosperous lives full of adventures. But is this really the best way? That's when he makes it worse as he concludes his first holotape with the words,
Finn, this dungeon's gonna kick your tail. I bet you won't even get past the first trial, you whiny baby.
This throws Finn off guard. Over the years, he became more than just that whiny baby that he was in Joshua's arms, so he brushes it off. Following the directions that Joshua left behind, the duo travels to the dungeon, and inside, the dungeon wastes no time throwing its first test at them. A seemingly harmless feast of burgers and hot dogs. Jake's all in, ready to chow down, but Finn notices something's off.
I don't think those burgers and hot dogs are burgers and hot dogs at all.
And sure enough, the feast morphs into two monstrous creatures. Finn wastes no time leaping into action, dodging, analyzing, and ultimately outsmarting the monsters. He rips out one monster's brain, lands in the second's head, and defeats it, solidifying just how far he's come from Joshua's expectations. After taking out the monsters, they find another holotape left on a pedestal, where again, Joshua's message hits the same note.
In order for Finn to stop whining, he needs to be put through a trial that forces him to take charge of a situation.
Jake's listening, but something in him is starting to question it.
But Dad, Finn's already figured that out. He's a good kid with a kind heart.
As they've grown more and more since Joshua recorded the tapes, it's clear Finn isn't the fragile kid that Joshua thinks he is. He's handling everything just fine, which makes it all the more difficult when Jake has to make a choice.
Jake, I need your help. You gotta call Finn a whiny baby.
Jake's always been the one to shield Finn, not break him down. So when the holotape asks him to call Finn a whiny baby, it's not just Finn who's being tested, it's a test of Jake too. As they proceed deeper into the dungeon, they come across two paths: a flower-filled room and a disgusting monster. Jake chooses the flower path, but the monster seems hurt.
Why don't you want to take my path?
Jake tells him bluntly that he's gross, but Finn softens the moment.
Cheer up, man. We're only telling you you're gross because we're your bros.
This may seem like nothing, but I'll tell you exactly why this matters so much after the recap. So for now, the real test comes when Finn starts asking why Joshua keeps calling him a baby, and that's when Jake does exactly as his father wished.
Because you cry like a baby. Baby!
You can see how much this hurts Finn, how much he's internalizing it. We rarely see Finn losing enthusiasm mid-adventure like this. He even starts to give up, saying maybe he'll just stay with the witches, partake of the fruit, because all the people he cares about are picking on him. Jake literally has to drag him out, saving Finn instead of letting him handle it himself. Jake realizes that he's gone too far, and that's the turning point. It's where Jake's own growth starts. He realizes that blindly following his dad's way is only hurting the person he loves most, so he tells Finn the truth.
Dad asked me to call you baby because he wants you to be tough.
But Jake knows Finn is tough. And that's when they have to face the dungeon's final monster, a grotesque laughing creature. The monster throws Finn around like he's nothing, and after being called weak, a baby, not good enough by his father's tapes over and over, he starts believing it.
I can't, man. I suck. I'm a whiny baby and I'm fat and all those things Dad said about me.
But that's when Jake decides enough is enough. He puts aside Joshua's old holotapes, the expectations, the generational mindset of toughen up or die. Jake doesn't need to repeat the same mistakes. He knows his brother. He knows Finn isn't weak. So instead of pushing Finn harder, Jake slips in the final message. Joshua's voice comes through, softer this time.
Finn, if you're seeing this pre-recorded holo message, it's because you finished the dungeon that I made for you. I'm proud of you. You're gonna do great things in this world. I love you, son.
And that's all Finn needed. No insults, no test, just knowing he was enough. With newfound confidence, Finn pulls the sword free and defeats the monster. Not because he had to prove something, but because he believed in himself and because he knew his family loved him. And Jake? Jake shows that breaking the cycle is possible. He won't try to parent like Joshua did. And that's not the only time we see Jake breaking through the generational cycle. Years after Joshua's dungeon, Jake faces his own trial, not against monsters, but as a father himself.
I love all my little babies so much. I'm not gonna let anything happen to them.
And this time, the guidance comes not from his dad, but from his mom, Margaret. Before his pups are even old enough to cause chaos, Jake pulls out a familiar tool.
It's Mom's manual for raising beautiful children.
Everything Margaret wanted to pass on, she recorded. Step-by-step instructions, breakfast recipes, safety precautions, bedtime routines. It's all there. But when Joshua's parenting style was all about toughening up, Margaret's was different, nurturing, supportive, but still cautious.
Oh, dude, Mom. She would have been so proud to see you and your pups.
At first, Jake clings to the manual like a lifeline. He follows every rule, every tip, trying to ensure that his pups are safe. He even puts on his dad's old hat, signifying that he's willing to become just like him.
I'm gonna be the best dad ever.
But soon, it starts to weigh him down. The more he micromanages, leashing the pups, obsessively watching over them, panicking at every small danger.
The puppies aren't moving!
Perform CPR, they might be dead!
The more exhausted he becomes. Then comes the turning point. Jake's overprotectiveness spirals so far that he can't even see how capable his pups really are already. It's only when they break free, face danger on their own, and save Jake himself that the message clicks.
Dad, the manual's a bunch of junk! Just give us a chance.
It triggers a flashback.
Mom, your manual's a bunch of junk. Look what I can do.
That's when Jake realizes he doesn't need to follow his parents' playbook. He doesn't need to toughen up his kids like Joshua did. He doesn't need to micromanage like Margaret tried. He trusts them. It's a beautiful full circle moment because we see Jake breaking free of both parenting extremes, tough love and overprotection. And he's choosing something better, respect, encouragement, and freedom. But that's not the true lesson of both episodes. Dad's Dungeon might seem like just another monster-filled quest, but beneath the traps and monsters, it's really about something deeper. The words we inherit, the expectations placed on us, and whether we choose to carry them or leave them behind. For Jake, the lesson is clear. But Joshua? He's all about toughness through hardship. And yeah, that's exactly what he passes down to Jake. But Jake doesn't blindly follow that script. Instead, he rewrites it. Whether it's remixing Joshua's final message, letting Finn hear the love he always deserved, or years later, raising his own pups with trust rather than control, Jake shows us that you don't have to repeat the same patterns. Love can be flexible, supportive, and it's enough the way you do it. And for Finn, it's the moment he realizes he doesn't need to prove himself to anyone, not even to his dad's ghost. He's not a whiny baby. He's a hero because of his kindness, not despite it. And that's why he was nice to the monster in the dungeon. His strength isn't measured by how tough he acts, but by the choices he makes, choosing compassion, choosing growth, choosing his own path. The cycle breaks, and the dungeon is cleared. And that's something all of us can take to heart. Your past might shape you, but you decide what comes next. Of course, Adventure Time is full of these hidden lessons, tucked between wild adventures and goofy jokes. If you want to see another story where Finn confronts something even deeper, his past lives, his forgotten trauma, check out my breakdown of the episode where Finn finds his past lives and what it teaches next. Trust me, it'll hit you right in the feels.